Started. These are the stories we're following at the top of the hour. Paralyzed by Mother Nature, South Korea's central region and Seoul wake up to yet more intense downpours, closing down major roadways, disrupting millions of commuters in the metropolitan region. Samsung showcases its flagship Galaxy Note 20 and new state-of-the-art wearables. Will this be enough for South Korea's tech giant to wrestle back top spot in the global smartphone market from Chinese Huawei? We tell you more. U.S. President Donald Trump says he'll have Washington's allies, including South Korea, pay more for America's defense cost sharing if he is reelected. Our top story this morning is the record-breaking downpours here in South Korea, and many parts of the central region and the capital Seoul have been slammed with non-stop pouring rain overnight, leading to roadblocks, causing disruptions to countless of morning commuters. And the Han River, which runs through the capital of Seoul, has swollen as more dams are letting a massive amount of water out into the river. And as for the damage, already the nationwide death toll from the flash floods and landslides stands at 16, with 11 others still missing. And for more, we get our Jongun for the details on the damages. Jongun, tell us more.
Taemin, the water level on the Han River is now back to over 10 meters. A flood watch has been issued for valleys and streams near the Han River, the Daeguk Bridge area in Seoul, and Seongnam City as of 6 a.m. This is due to an enormous amount of water being released from Paltang Dam, which directly influences the level of Han River. Paltang Dam has been discharging some 14,000 tons of water a second. With the surge, some of major roads have been shut down again this morning, including parts of Gangbyeon and Dongbu expressways. People are advised to use public transport rather than drive.
Now, Jongun, with the water level on the Imjin River, which runs along the western part of the inter-Korean border, has also risen, and emergency flood evacuation orders have been issued for cities like Paju and Yeoncheon earlier this morning. Tell us more.
Citizens living in lowland areas near Paju and Yeoncheon have evacuated as the water level of a bridge near Imjin River soared on Thursday. More than 5,300 residents in the area have taken shelter in nearby schools, churches, or community halls. Emergency services have also had to deal with several incidents. 5 people were trapped in a bus in Paju and had to be rescued by boats as the water rose up to the bus windows. More flooding is expected, with heavy downpours and North Korea releasing a massive amount of water from the upper part of Imjin River. A barometer for issuing a flooding alert in the region is the Piryong Bridge, which saw the water level top 13.5 meters, the highest on record. The previous record was 20 years ago when it hit around 11 meters. That's all I have for now, but I'll be back with more updates in our later newscast. Back to you, Samin.
Thank you, our Jongun, with those developing weather updates. In North Korea, the regime is also being slammed by a long monsoon season as well, with the north seeing more than 2 weeks straight of heavy rain. According to the regime's weather agency, from August 1st to the 5th, Pyeonggang County saw a total of 733 millimeters of rain, causing flooding and damage to farmland in that area. The North's state-run Korea Central News Agency also reported that Taedong River, a major river that runs through Pyongyang, is at risk of flooding. North Korea is expected to see an average of 150 to 300 millimeters of rainfall around that river over the course of the day. Shifting focus, U.S. President Donald Trump has brought up the issue of defense cost sharing between the U.S. and its allies, once again calling for other countries to pay a fair share of the cost. Our Kim Jae-hee with more.
U.S. President Donald Trump has said the fair sharing of defense costs will be one of the top priorities of his second term. In a wide-ranging phone interview with Fox News Channel's Fox and Friends on Wednesday, Trump slammed U.S. allies, saying that they're not paying the defense bills and are taking advantage of the U.S. on trade and the military. In particular, Trump mentioned his recent decision to withdraw U.S. troops from Germany, claiming that Berlin did not pay its fair share of the defense costs. Trump named the revival of the U.S. economy and getting a better deal on defense costs as the 2 main things he would focus on if he gets reelected. That could put officials in South Korea on edge. Seoul and Washington's defense cost deal expired at the end of last year, and negotiations over how much each side should pay for the U.S. troops on the Korean peninsula have been in a deadlock for the past few months. The U.S. has been demanding a significant increase in South Korea's contributions, more than the amount Seoul is willing to pay. But a former U.S. diplomat stresses that there should be no dispute over how much Seoul should pay for American troops stationed in South Korea. Speaking during the virtual Aspen Security Forum on Wednesday, Wendy Sherman, the former nuclear negotiator for the Obama administration, said the ongoing talks of who pays what shouldn't be a bone of contention. She said that having U.S. troops in South Korea is in America's national interest, and rebuilding relations with South Korea and Japan is critical in tackling the issue of North Korea's nuclear weapons. Kim Jae-hee, Arirang News.
Washington's deputy envoy for North Korea says the U.S. is ready for talks with Pyongyang while stressing that the current pressure on the regime will be maintained going forward. Speaking at a virtual confirmation hearing at the U.S. Alternate Representative for Special Political Affairs in the UN, Alex Wong, deputy special representative for North Korea, explained that the Trump administration needs to keep pressure on to ensure the regime that engages in productive negotiations. He also said China has a role to play, including the enforcement of UN sanctions against the North. In North Korea, just like the rest of the world, may be also battling the novel coronavirus. Its leader Kim Jongun ordered special aid for Gaeseong, the city currently on lockdown over concerns of the virus. The regime's Korean Central News Agency reported this morning that its leader Kim ordered food and financial aid to people in that city. Back in late July, the regime took the preemptive measure of the total lockdown of Gaeseong shortly after the North reported that a runaway who had defected to the South 3 years ago had shortly returned recently. And as a precautionary measure, the regime put the city under complete lockdown. One day after the massive explosion shook Lebanon's capital of Beirut, the death toll in that city has risen to 135, with 5,000 others wounded. Authorities say the death toll is almost certain to rise further as search operations continue and the number of missing remains unknown. U.S. President Donald Trump again suggested that the explosion could have been more than just a tragic accident. Our Kim Hyo-sun with more.
The death toll from the massive explosion in Beirut has jumped to 135, with nearly 5,000 wounded and dozens still missing as of Wednesday local time. That's according to Lebanon's health minister, but officials say they expect the number to climb even further as emergency workers dig through the rubble to search for survivors. The country's cabinet declared a 2-week state of emergency in Beirut, with its president calling for unity.
There are no words to describe the catastrophe that hit Beirut yesterday evening, which has transformed it into a stricken city. It is time to grieve for our martyrs, our injured, and our missing. The shock has overwhelmed the spirits of all the Lebanese people that I call today to unite and bond together.
Ammonium nitrate stored at a warehouse in the Beirut port has emerged as a possible spark that caused the catastrophic blast. It's still not clear what exactly led to the ignition, but many point to the 2,700 metric tons of the unsecured and volatile chemical compound. The Lebanese government has launched an investigation into the blast, saying it will not rest until it finds those responsible. Against such a backdrop, the international community is sending words of comfort, with the UN stepping up to enhance emergency assistance to Lebanon. South Korean President Moon Jae-in extended condolences to the victims, while U.S. President Donald Trump also sent words of comfort, calling the explosion as something that, quote, looks like a terrible attack. Leaders of other countries, including China, Britain, and France, also expressed their condolences, adding they stand ready to lend a helping hand. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
And now to the latest development in the South Korean doctors' dispute over the government's promise to train hundreds of additional doctors to battle future epidemics. The nation's health minister Park Neung-hoo says the government will make preparations to minimize any disruption just a day before the doctors' scheduled all-out strike on August 7th. This is him earlier this morning.
The government will prepare substitute medical staff for essential situations, like in emergency rooms and ICUs, to minimize the possible damage to the Korean public.
The minister added that the government will pull all the strings to possibly resolve their differences through dialogue before the mass walkout on Friday. And Health Minister Park is scheduled to make a final appeal against the strike at 11 a.m. this morning at the Seoul government complex. The South Korean government earlier announced that it will go ahead and add 4,000 medical students over the next 10 years to swell the number of doctors and boost the response to future public health crises. And to this, doctors have opposed the idea, saying that the Moon administration pushed forward a series of reforms in the medical systems in an arbitrary fashion, while doctors are fully occupied on the front lines fighting COVID-19 outbreaks. And the Doctors Association announced that they will go on strike this Friday and on August 14th as a way to express their dissatisfaction over the latest decision. Samsung Electronics is going big and hard, and the world's leading electronics giant has unveiled its latest set of Galaxy phones and state-of-the-art devices. And it was the first ever online unpacking event for the South Korean tech firm in this time of COVID-19 pandemic. Our Kim Demi with the details.
Samsung Electronics' latest set of Galaxies has been unpacked. After throwing large-scale unpacked events in the past, the Wednesday edition was live-streamed online for the first time due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But connecting with some 300 fans and 1 million viewers worldwide, the unpacked show was as glamorous and lively as ever. Samsung is confident its latest devices will lead the next normal era of non-contact technology.
Together, they are part of the growing Samsung ecosystem. At the end of the day, we are about empowering you so that in these difficult times, you can focus on what really matters.
Praised by American singer Khalid, Samsung's latest Galaxy Note 20 comes with a pen that reacts 80% faster than its predecessor. And pro gamer Meth also enjoyed himself playing video games by connecting his Galaxy Note 20. The Galaxy Note 20 comes in two models, one regular flat display model and the Ultra model with a 6.9-inch display. Launching on August 21st, they'll go on sale for $1,000 and $1,200 respectively. The tech giant's second edition of Z Fold is back, this time larger and wider. Calling the foldable phone innovative, K-pop group BTS also unpacked and played around what's been labeled as the most advanced flexible display ever. Made out of recycled materials, Samsung's Galaxy Buds Live have 3 microphones each side with an additional voice pickup unit, minimizing background noise when users answer calls. Samsung's Galaxy Watch 3 is thinner, smaller, and lighter, while having a larger display than its previous model. Just like the Galaxy Note 20, the Galaxy Tab S7 offers a 5G service with an 11-inch display. With these newest products, Samsung aims to bounce back from poor Galaxy S20 series sales due to the global crisis. It plans to set up Galaxy studios across Seoul for customers to take a closer look and expand the Galaxy To Go service where people can rent smartphones before they actually purchase the device. Kim Dami, Arirang News.
Good morning. Rain has stopped or eased up compared to earlier hours in the capital and surrounding areas, but rain clouds continue to move in a northeasterly direction and will drop plenty more rain on Gangwon-do province from this afternoon. Meanwhile, central and southwestern regions could possibly see up to 200 millimeters of downpours into Friday, and the rest of the south will also see 50 to 150 millimeters. So heavy rain alerts have now expanded to southern regions, while strong wind advisories are in place across much of the country. Winds will be strong enough to sway large branches, while those of you in Gangwon-do and parts of the Gyeongsang-do provinces will see stronger winds today. Meanwhile, many southern provinces have been dealing with sweltering heat day and night. Well, due to the rain, heat alerts in the south have been lifted today, but Jeju remains under a heat wave advisory with an expected high of 33 degrees Celsius this afternoon. Well, rain will take a break from time to time, but the weather agency is forecasting rain to last until next Friday in Seoul and the western parts of Gangwon-do province. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for viewers around the world.
And that's all the time we have for this hour on Arirang News. As always, thank you for watching and goodbye for now.
With social distancing measures getting updated, people are slowly getting back to their everyday life. However, in order to minimize the risks of COVID-19 infection, we must get used to sitting 1 seat apart when using public facilities. In crowded places, sitting at least 1 seat away from each other can reduce the risks of catching the disease that is said to be transmitted through respiratory droplets. In movie theatres, sit a seat apart from each other, as well as on planes, trains, and even at amusement parks. When visiting swimming pools and water parks, space out the lockers used while minimizing contact with others. The prevention rules also apply for sports games. Sit 1 seat apart for the safety of our community. New normal, new challenges.
여보세요? 혜린아, 나 일하고 있지 지금. 어디? 동대문? 동대문 여기. 아, 거기서? 그래, 지금 갈 수는 있는데 빨리 끝내고